Sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar, Coach Ram, Jim Ramazinski, another football Friday. Even though they are playing on a Saturday, we have the head coach of the Evergreen Park Mustang football team here. How are you, Coach?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, not the first week that you wanted to have because you guys ended up taking a loss to Marengo, but it was a close game. And so I'm sure you learned some things from it. What were your initial impressions of that first game?
Well, with any loss, we were all disappointed. The entire team, coaches, watching it happen there, you're kind of like, when are we going to pick this up and finish this game off? And we just didn't, we just got outplayed. We got beat up front, and when you reflect on it, Friday right after a loss, it's kind of like, what are we going to do? All this. Then you regroup, you watch the film. We watched the film as a team the entire game. You see that the mistakes that we made, a lot of them are correctable. Some were some mental mistakes that, we could chalk it up as first game, long road trip, all that. But at the same time, we're not trying to make excuses. We lost, and we know we have to get better.
First points of the season is a safety.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because you had 6 kids move on to play college ball? You've got a little bit of turnover in the team, and it's the first time they get live action, and you may have some inexperience. Like, you see a safety as the first thing that happens where the other team gets one against you, gets possession of the ball. What happened there?
Yeah, we kicked the ball off. We ended up getting a stop on defense. I think they got 1 first down that first series. They punted the ball. This is how football goes. It's a combination of mistakes that lead to something like a safety. We are receiving the punt. We do not fair catch it. It rolls down to, probably about the 10-yard line. Our offense gets on the field. We struggle a little bit early, go 3 and out, go to punt the ball, and our long snapper, who is reliable, was our long snapper last year. He just made a mistake, and I don't blame him personally because mistakes are going to happen. That's not what lost us the game.
No, because you get a 10-9 lead at half.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like you end up putting more points on the board in the first half, and it's a game. At halftime, you must think like, okay, we've had some mistakes, but we can win this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the message we sent. We're winning this game, and we're winning it by not playing nearly to our potential. And if we continue to kind of push it and make sure we're playing up to our standards, this should be a win. But unfortunately, second half came around. We didn't have a good third quarter, and Marengo was able to kind of build a lead, and then we ran out of time. Marengo was able to run 59 plays to our 35, and
they didn't average a lot of yards per play. It's just they had such a volume, correct?
Yeah, they had a large volume of plays, and we were getting stops. We were putting them in third and long situations. We were doing the right stuff. It's just, once in a while they would get one on us, and they would just extend the drive, and they were ground and pound, and they were running that clock. Unfortunately, we ran out of time.
Yeah. It's a road trip at the beginning of the year. You're in a town.
Yeah.
I think I've talked to you about this. I've talked to other coaches about this. When you go to a town and the whole town's out because that's their team, that's quite an environment to walk into first week. You keep the game close, you regroup, you go back at it. What did you learn from this game that you're telling your kids about this week?
Well, we found out who some of our players are that we weren't sure on. Names that you've heard before. Caleb Kaiser, he came up big, 15 tackles at the free safety position. That you don't see that too often in a high school game. He was coming up really hard, helping us in the run game a ton. Devin Herrera is a name you guys heard before, lineman. He was a defensive lineman who ended up getting an interception for us, sniffed out a screen, and was able to, anytime a D lineman gets an interception, that's kind of a fun moment. On offense, Rowan Smythe, pretty good debut as the Evergreen Park varsity quarterback, threw for 2 touchdowns. And, one of those touchdowns was to Ellis Jackson. The other one was to Arshawn Powell, transfer who came in, very dynamic player and did a really good job for us.
Awesome. So there, you found some players. I'm sure you found some things that you're going to end up working on. You got an opponent on a Saturday afternoon, which I would think now that the schedules are always on Friday nights, having to travel to Longwood, do something really odd like, hey, we're getting ready in the morning for an afternoon football game on a Saturday, kind of messes with your schedule. How are you planning for that this week?
Well, obviously everybody's aware there'll be a timeline to follow Saturday morning, but like we're not going to look at that as anything that should get in our way, because if we're playing the football that we want to play, if we have the focus that we want our boys to have, this shouldn't be an issue getting up on a Saturday morning, getting to the game. And, if anything, it'll be a good day, because right now we had a good practice yesterday, very good practice, actually. Obviously, I think a lot of our guys and our coaches took a look at ourselves really closely this week and see, what can we do to improve ourselves, help our team. And so far, I see that message has come across to the players, and we're hoping to continue to have a good week of practice.
All right, so you look at Longwood now, coming up on a Saturday. What do you know about this team other than what you learned last year when you played them? Because the rosters do change. Your roster changed a little bit. What are you looking at going into this game?
They had some very dynamic players last year. First play of the game last year, they run a 75-yard touchdown and definitely surprised our players on the field. They were not expecting.
Was there a trickery, or was it just like you ran up the middle? Like what was that?
No,
play?
they had a player. They ran a stretch play to the right side of the field on the boundary, and the guy beat us all in a foot race. Guys were late getting there, and that's why, especially yesterday at practice, we're talking about, you have to play full speed at all times, because we don't know a ton about this team's roster comparison to conference opponents. So, we're just planning for, hey, they're going to have somebody who's going to be able to fly around. They're going to have a pretty big physical line, and we want to just play up to our potential. If we play to our potential, good things will happen.
You talk about the line, defensive line, offensive line. They're not the flashy players, but they really are the base that a team is built around. And, again, you get guys that are coming in, guys that are leaving, guys that got bigger, who, maybe all of a sudden in a position that they weren't in last year. Is that an all year thing you're working on that line? Is it because they have to kind of gel and get used to playing, and that can only come from in-game experience?
Well, in-game experience is invaluable for them. The first time together as a unit on offense and defense, you can learn a lot about your team, and you learn a lot about your players, especially, after watching the film. I mean, like this sounds cliche, but the truth is we're just trying to improve more and more every day. How can we get our players to play to their best ability at all times? And, like you see different faces coming in. I know this is not lineman related, but, we have a sophomore step up, play linebacker for us this week, kind of an unexpected surprise. And Gavin Wheeler did a great job for us. So you never know who's going to show up. But yeah, of course we work every single day with our offensive and defensive line to get the correct technique, get the correct plays down, and obviously get them moving forward and being physical.
You got a lot of two-way players. I know that over there. I would imagine you have two-way linemen. Mm-hmm. And is that a benefit or a detriment to be a two-way lineman? Because you think to yourself, well, they know the moves coming at them. On the other hand, in the heat of the moment, do things get mixed up what they should be doing?
Well, it's mostly about conditioning out there. Like if you're going full go O-line and then you're also on the D-line, there is a certain point where you're going to feel it. And we're trying to teach our kids to push through that, to make sure that you're giving your best effort at all times and leaving everything out on the field.
All right, so this matchup, what's the key to it? Like, I don't want you to give away any secrets, of course. Don't give me anything that's gonna help the other team. But like, what what do you look at? What are you telling your guys like is a major focal point of taking on Longwood?
We need to have a fast start. Last week,
you need to throw a 70-some yard pass right away.
Yeah, we need to have a fast start. We need to, last week we had the lead at half, but we were down 9-0 pretty quick into that game, and it's obviously it's not a good start. It could have an effect on how some people are looking at the game, but we need to have a fast start. We need to, on both sides of the ball, special teams, everybody's got to be locked in, focused. And if we do that, things should go well. But, again, we got to make sure that everybody is ready to go.
Okay. Head coach Jim Ramazinski, Coach Ram, for all the kids out there. I had Amy Kazin on one of the most recent episodes of the EP podcast, and she was talking about all the stuff they're getting ready for a month from now with homecoming. I know that's a long ways off for you, and you could, when you're ready for it, you can go back and you can listen to that episode and find out what they have planned for you, because they have a lot going on this year around this. There's like a street festival happening before the game. It's going to be goofy.
No, You're
aware of it?
I am aware. I know you're shocked. I am.
I know you want to put on the blinders, just focus on things. And I know homecoming is difficult on coaches because of all the extra stuff and you just want to prep for the game. But this seems like it's going to be big, and the preparations over the next couple of weeks, just getting ready for it, pretty exciting around the school.
Yeah, it's definitely super exciting. I mean, as much as coaches possibly, look at homecoming week as a distraction, and at the end of the day, we're always talking about stay focused, but I always think about it all right, seniors, last homecoming, of course we want our boys to have fun, have a great experience, and we want the entire school to do that. So we're excited for it. When the time comes, we just got to take care of business between now and then.
All right, it's a road game. It's on Saturday. It's their only Saturday game from what I can see here, taking a quick glance at the schedule. 12:30 start at Longwood, and then next week back home. First game of the year at home, under the lights on a Friday night against Oak Long. And we will talk before that, Coach Ram, hopefully with a 1-1 record.
Hope so. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
It's the EP Podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.